I never thought I'd kill a man with my own hands, but as I stared into the mirror that wasn't mine, feeling the unfamiliar weight of my brother's jawline under my fingers, I realized murder might be the only way to save what was left of me. The wedding venue, our family's crumbling estate in the Hudson Valley, where I'd imagined vows under the oaks with Jake, wasn't just bricks and ivy. It was the last thread holding my shattered life together. And he'd booked the bulldozers to bury it all. In that stolen skin, with his Rolex ticking like a bomb on my wrist, I whispered to my reflection, "Your empire ends today, Ethan," and stepped out into the dawn, ready to burn it down from the inside. It started 6 months ago, back when the betrayal still felt like a bad dream I could wake from.
I'm Demi Hargrove.
32. The black sheep of the Hargrove dynasty, old money for Manhattan real estate. The kind that built skyscrapers on the bones of forgotten neighborhoods. My father, Victor, had clawed his way up from nothing, turning derelict lots into gleaming condos. But he always said the Hudson Valley estate was his one soft spot, a sprawling Victorian relic he'd inherited from his mother, complete with sagging porches, wild rose gardens, and a history of whispers about bootleggers and lost fortunes. It was where Mom and Dad got hitched in '92, rain-soaked and laughing under those same oaks. When Dad died 5 years back, heart attack, they said. But we all knew the stress of Ethan's cutthroat deals did him in. He left it to me in the will. For the family that matters, the note read, tucked in the envelope like a secret apology. Ethan, my older brother by 3 years, laughed when the lawyers read it out. He was the golden boy, Wharton grad, boardroom shark, already flipping properties from Brooklyn lofts to Jersey warehouses. Sentimental bullshit, he muttered. But his eyes, cold blue like Dad's, lingered on me a beat too long. I should have seen it then, the way he sized me up like a rival bidder. But I was too busy piecing together my own life, graphic designer by day, dreaming of a quiet wedding with Jake, my high school sweetheart turned barista philosopher. We'd picked the estate because it felt like home, the kind you build from ruins. I even sketched the invitations myself, elegant script on recycled paper, promising forever under the Hudson stars. The first crack came 2 weeks after Dad's funeral. Ethan called me into his corner office overlooking Central Park. All glass and leather, the city sprawled out like his personal chessboard. "Demi, about the estate," he said, sliding a folder across the desk. Inside, blueprints for a luxury eco-resort. Solar panels, infinity pools, helipad for the 1%ers. It's prime land. 20 acres. River access. We develop it now. Or some vulture flips it for half what it's worth. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. "It's not for sale, Ethan." Dad left it to me. His smile didn't reach his eyes. "Family first, right? But think bigger. This could fund the whole Hargrove legacy. Your wedding? We'd throw you the bash of the century at the Ritz. Hell, I'll even walk you down the aisle." I walked out shaking, but doubt crept in like fog off the river. Ethan had always been the fixer, the one who smoothed Dad's rages with charm and checkbooks. And me? I'd spent my 20s drifting, art school dropout, string of bad gigs, while he built the empire. Maybe he was right. Maybe I was holding everyone back. The real knife twisted a month later, when the auditors came knocking. Embezzlement charges, they said, $2.3 million siphoned from Hargrove Holdings into offshore accounts. The paper trail led straight to my name, forged signatures on wire transfers, emails from my IP address. I stared at the detective's badge in our cramped Brooklyn walk-up, Jake's hand on my shoulder like it could anchor me. Demi, this has to be a mistake, he whispered. But the cops weren't buying it. Ethan swooped in like a savior, posting bail, lawyering up with the best. We'll bury it, he assured me over takeout Thai in his penthouse. But you gotta sign over the estate. Collateral for the lawyers. Trust me. Sis, it's the only way. I signed. What choice did I have? Jail time. My name in the post as the heiress crook. The secret gnawed at me. Those transfers? I never touched a dime. But Ethan swore he'd handle it. That Dad's old skeletons, shady deals from the 80s, were the real culprits. And this was just blowback. I bore it all. The whispers at family Thanksgivings. The way Jake's mom stopped calling. For the family, I told myself. For the legacy. Wedding planning became my lifeline. Jake and I toured the estate under a crisp October sky. Leaves crunching like brittle promises. This is it. Dems, he said, spinning me in the grand hall. Dust motes dancing in the sunlight. Our forever spot. We booked the date, June 15th, filed the permits. Even hired a band from the city. Ethan footed the bill, grinning like the doting brother. Anything for you, he'd say, clinking glasses at our engagement dinner. Then, 3 weeks ago, the bomb dropped. I got a call from the county clerk, demolition permit approved for the estate. Filed by Hargrove Holdings.
Ethan.
I drove up that night, tires screeching on the gravel drive, the mansion looming like a ghost in the moonlight. He was there, pacing the porch with his phone to his ear, barking orders to some contractor. Yeah. Raise it by May. Clear the site for groundbreaking. Ethan, I screamed, slamming the car door. He hung up, turning with that polished smile. But I saw the flicker, predator sizing up prey. Demi, what are you? You booked my wedding venue for demolition? What the hell?
He sighed.
Like I was the unreasonable one. Business.
Cease.
The resort numbers pencil out. Your little shindig? We can relocate. Look. The embezzlement mess, it's blowing up. Feds are sniffing around. We need liquidity. Liquidity? That's my home. Dad's home. His voice dropped. Low and lethal.
Dad's dead. And you?
You're the reason we're in this shit. Those signatures weren't cheap to fake.
Demi.
You owe me. The world tilted. Fake signatures. He said it like a confession. Casual as ordering coffee. All those nights I'd cried myself raw. Convinced I'd blacked out or some hacker had framed me, he'd done it. To bury his own tracks. Probably some insider trading scam or worse. And I'd carried the blame. Signed away everything to fix it. I lunged. Fists flying. But he caught my wrists easy. His grip like iron. Get out, he hissed. Before I add assault to your rap sheet. I stumbled to the car. Jake's texts lighting up my phone. Where are you? Love you. Tears blurred the road back to Brooklyn. But rage sharpened everything. Ethan wasn't just stealing my wedding. He was erasing me. The estate held secrets. 2. Dad's hidden safe in the attic. Crammed with ledgers from his wilder days. Maybe proof of Ethan's dirt. If it went down, so did any shot at clearing my name. That's when I found the swap. Desperate Googling led to dark web forums, conspiracy nuts raving about black market neural tech. Some DARPA leftover smuggled out of a Nevada lab. Body transference, they called it, a helmet rig that maps brains. Swaps consciousness for 72 hours max. Reversible. If you don't fuck it up. Price tag, $50,000. Wired to an anonymous Cayman account. I pawned Mom's heirloom necklace. Jake's vintage guitar, everything. Met the dealer in a Jersey motel. A twitchy ex-MIT kid with burn scars on his hands. It's glitchy, he warned, handing over the case. And illegal as hell. You in someone else's skin? Cops won't care whose mind it is. I didn't hesitate. Ethan was in the city that Friday, schmoozing investors at a gala. I tailed him home, his Soho loft, all minimalist chrome and views of the skyline. Slipped a sedative in his scotch via the housekeeper's access code, stolen from years of family holidays. By midnight, I had him strapped to a folding chair in his guest room, the helmets humming like angry bees. His eyes fluttered open as the transfer kicked in, blue fading to my hazel, then snapping back wrong. Pain ripped through me, like my skull was unzipping. Memories bleeding over, boardroom battles, hookers in Vegas suites, the sick thrill of forging my name on those docs. Then nothing. I blinked, and the world was sharper.
Taller.
I was in his body, staring at my own slumped form across the rig. Holy shit, his voice, gravelly baritone, croaked. Untied myself, stumbled to the mirror. 6'2", broad shoulders, that perpetual 5 o'clock shadow.
Me? But not.
My old body groaned. Ethan's mind surfacing groggy.
Demi?
What the fuck did you? I clamped a hand over my mouth. Welcome to my nightmare, brother. Now you're the felon. And I'm the one with the keys to your kingdom. He thrashed, but the sedative lingered. I zip-tied him to the bed, gagged with his own silk tie. Don't worry. We'll swap back in 3 days. Unless you don't play nice. Left him there, heart pounding, and stepped into his life like an ill-fitting suit. First move, call off the demolition. Posing as Ethan, I dialed the contractor at dawn, voice steady despite the tremor. Change of plans. Hold everything on the estate. Indefinite delay. The guy grumbled about penalties, but Hargrove money shut him up. Next, the wedding. Jake's voicemails piled up, worried, loving. I texted from my phone, still in my body, guarded at the loft family drama. Need space. Love you. Harsh, but necessary. Couldn't risk him seeing me acting off. Ethan's world was a minefield. Board meetings where suits nodded like bobbleheads. Mistresses texting nudes at 10 a.m., a Rolodex of politicians on speed dial. I played the part, Ethan Hargrove, untouchable while digging. His laptop held the smoking gun, emails to a forger in Queens, payoffs to the auditors who'd buried the real trail. Dad's ledgers? Encrypted files hinting at Ethan's early scams. Using family funds for coke-fueled benders in the 90s. The crime I'd borne? Just the tip. He'd framed me to cover a $10 mill Ponzi he'd run through the holdings, bilking Mom's old charity. Power surged through me, his power.
Irregular fonts.
Froze accounts. Even leaked a tip to a Post reporter buddy of his, now mine. Anonymous source, Hargrove heir and embezzlement probe. Watched the headlines bloom like poison ivy. But cracks formed fast. My body, Ethan inside, started slipping. He trashed the loft, screaming into the gag until neighbors banged on the door. I upped the sedatives, but he got loose once, dialing 911 before I tackled him. Help. My sister's a psycho, he gasped in my voice. Dispatch laughed it off, Drunk call from a known party girl. Worse, the physical toll. His body rebelled. Migraines from the neural mismatch. Phantom itches where my tattoos should be. And Jake. God.
Jake.
He showed up at the estate unannounced, walking the grounds with a six-pack, calling my name. I watched from the tree line in Ethan's Range Rover. Gut twisting. Demi? Babe.
Talk to me.
He looked wrecked, stubble shadowing his jaw. And I wanted to run to him, explain everything. But I couldn't. Not like this. By day 2,
Paranoia set in.
Ethan had enemies, rival developers, jilted partners. A cryptic email hit his inbox. We know about the swap. Hargrove. Back off the Valley deal. Or your sister's pretty face hits the tabloids. Blackmail? Or bluff? I doubled security.
But sleep evaded me.
In the witching hours, I'd pace the loft, staring at my bound form, pale, bruised, whispering apologies to the woman I'd become. Revenge tasted like ash. I'd imagined sweet justice. Ethan in cuffs. Me cleared. Wedding bells ringing.
But now?
His memories flooded me. Flashes of our childhood. Him shielding me from Dad's belt after bad report card. Was it all lies? Or had I misread the monster? Dawn of day 3 broke stormy. Thunder rumbling over the Hudson, like God's own warning. The swap timer ticked, 6 hours left. I drove to the estate, mud sucking at the tires, to oversee the survey I'd ordered, my ace. Posing as Ethan, I'd commissioned a full geological probe, citing investor concerns. Cost a fortune, but it'd buy time, sinkholes, unstable soil, whatever it took to halt the bulldozers. The crew arrived at noon, geologists in hard hats, probes humming like sci-fi toys. I stood on the porch, Ethan's Burberry coat flapping in the wind, watching them fan out. Jake was there too. I'd learned via text, showing up to save the venue, rallying locals with a petition. Controversy brewed. Eco-activists protesting corporate greed, neighbors picketing with signs, "Save our valley heritage." As the lead surveyor drove stakes near the old well house, Dad's secret spot, where he'd hidden hooch during Prohibition, I felt it, a twist in my gut, deeper than the neural ache. The ground hummed, then cracked.
Whoa.
Back up, the guy yelled, as the probe hit patered, not rock, but metal. They unearthed a rusted lockbox, caked in clay, spilling papers yellowed with age. I snatched one, heart slamming. Dad's handwriting. To my children, Ethan. Demi. If you find this, know the truth. The 80s deals weren't clean. I covered for Ethan. Junior year, stole from the firm to pay his gambling debts. Framed a junior exec. Let him take the fall. He went to prison. Our family thrived. Demi, if you're reading this, forgive your brother. He learned. I bore the guilt so you kids could have futures. The world inverted. Truth reversed, not Ethan's monster, but Dad's enabler, protecting a flawed son at another's expense. And me, I'd borne Ethan's later sins, echoing the cycle. The surveyors buzzed. Archaeological find. Protected status. Demolition? Dead in the water. The venue saved. Headline shifting. Hargrove legacy unearthed. Scandal or redemption. But the real bomb, sirens wailed. Cops swarmed the site. Guns drawn. Jake. Pointing right at me. Ethan's face. That's him. He kidnapped Demi.
How?
My phone. Ethan must have swiped it in the struggle. Sent coordinates. Proof of the rig from the loft security cam. I bolted. But they tackled me in the roses. Thorns ripping Ethan's suit. Demi Hargrove, the detective barked, cuffing me. We got a call. Your brother's the victim here. Victim. The word burned as they hauled me to the cruiser. My old body, Ethan free. Wild-eyed, rushing into Jake's arms. Thank God, he sobbed in my voice. She snapped. Body swap bullshit. Thought she was possessed or something. The transfer window closed mid-ride. Agony ripping me back. I blinked in the squad car. My own hands zip-tied. Hazel eyes staring from the rear view. Ethan's consciousness slammed home, his mind a whirlwind of fury and fear. But mine lingered. A ghost echo. Forgive him? Trial was a circus. Ethan's testimony, me, drugged and raving, painted me as unhinged. The embezzlement? Demi's desperation, he claimed, with forged docs to match. Jake testified, too. Torn. I love her. But she changed. The lockbox? Spun as Dad's final gift, absolving the family. I got 5 years, reduced to 3 for mental health. Sing Sing. Not the Ritz. Ethan married his mistress in the estate's grand hall. Headlines gushing. Hargrove heir weds amid Valley revival. Jake visited once. Eyes hollow. Was any of it real? Dems? Or just revenge? I didn't answer. Truth? The swap revealed monsters in us all. Dad's lies. Ethan's echoes. My blade-sharp rage. Controversial? Hell yes. Was saving the venue worth the cage? Some say I got what I deserved. Betrayer betrayed. Others whisper I exposed the rot. Force the debate. Family first, or truth at any cost. As I stare at these walls, sketching wedding gowns in the margins of legal pads, I wonder. The oaks still stand, roses blooming wild. Maybe that's enough. Or maybe, when I walk free, I'll book the bulldozers myself. Forgive? Nah. But understand? That's the real twist, the one that haunts. The bars of Sing Sing close like teeth at dusk. But in my head, the Hudson Valley estate replays on loop, that rusted lockbox cracking open. Dad's scrawled confessions spilling out like bile. Rewriting everything I'd bled for. 3 months in, and the swap's phantom pain still ghosts me, itches under my skin where Ethan's bulk used to press. Echoes of his baritone in my throat when I cough. Jake stopped visiting after week 6, his last note. Slid under the plexiglass. I can't tell where you end and the rage begins. Heal. Dems. For us? Us. As if there was still one. From the outside, Ethan played the saint. Post-trial pressers. Him in tailored wool. Arm around his new bride, some lithe influencer named Blair. All yoga glow and sponsored posts. My sister's illness broke us all, he'd say. Voice cracking just right for the cameras. But the estate? It's a fresh start. Ecolodge now. Honoring Dad's vision. Lies layered thick as the valley fog. The survey had flagged it protected, historical site, thanks to those Prohibition-era relics, but Ethan's lawyers carved loopholes. Adaptive reuse, they called it. Demo the unstable wings. Shore up the rest for guest suites at $2,000 a night. I followed it all via contraband tablets, smuggled by a guard's cousin for commissary smokes. Forums lit up. Save Hargrove trending. Locals decrying gentrification ghosts. One post gutted me, a grainy pic of Jake leading a rally. Sign hoisted high, for Demi, Truth over legacy. My hero. Still fighting my ghost. But Ethan's reach was long. Permits sailed through. Groundbreaking set for my release date. Like a middle finger from the stars. Rage festered. But so did clarity. The swap hadn't just stolen days. It had downloaded Ethan's hard drive into mine. Flashes at odd hours. His first kill, not literal, but close. 98. Dad's firm teetering. Ethan's 16 and cocky. Skimming client escrow for Atlantic City highs. The junior exec who took the fall? Fired. Then drove his Chevy off the Tappan Zee. Note blaming corporate greed. Ethan watched the news with popcorn. Mom sobbing beside him. Survival, he'd think. Even then. And me, the little sister trailing him through the rose garden. Picking thorns from his jeans after he'd sneak smokes. I'd idolized him once. Before the polish hid the rust. Letters started coming, anonymous. Postmarked Albany. First one, you almost had him. The rig's blueprints? Destroyed. But backups exist. Check the well house floorboards. No signature. But the handwriting tugged. Ethan's forger from Queens? Or a guilty conscience? I burned it. But the seed took. Parole board loomed in 6 months. If I played good girl, therapy sessions, art classes, I'd walk. Then what? Confront him clean? Or dirty? Like he taught me? Therapy was a joke, Dr. Kessler. Chain-smoking Freudian with a Bronx accent. Probing my delusions of transference. Body swaps. Ennis. Hargrove. Classic projection. Your brother's shadow self. I sketched instead. Filling notebooks with the estate's blueprints from memory. Hidden panels. The attic safe Dad bolted shut after Mom's overdose. Pills. 05. Whispered as accident, but reeking of cover-up. Ethan's doing? Or Dad's? A breakthrough came in group. Big Tina. Lifer for torching her ex's garage. Slipped me a burner phone during rec yard. Favor from outside, she grunted. Texts from Vulture. The blackmailer? Rig version 2.0 ready. $20,000. Swap permanent this time. End him for good. My pulse thrummed. Permanent? The kid in Jersey had warned of overloads, brains frying mid-transfer. Souls stuck in limbo. But end him? Controversial didn't cover it. Murder by identity theft. Leaving Ethan's husk of vegetable while I wore his life like a trophy. I wired the cash via Tina's people. Heart hammering through cold sweats. Vulture delivered. A duffel to the prison gates on conjugal day. Rigged with neural gel and a laptop of Ethan's dirt. Videos of payoffs. Audio of him bragging to Blair about framing the idiot sister to clear the decks. Proof. But the real hook, coordinates for a safe house in Poughkeepsie. Swap site prep. Parole hearing dawned gray. Rain lashing the windows like accusations. Board drone my file. Remorse shown. Low recidivism risk. Ethan sent a letter, read aloud. His script all concern. Demi's journey to healing inspires us. The family prays for her light. Gag. They bought it. Stamped approved. Release in 48 hours. Jake met me at the gates. Rain-slicked hair. Eyes wary but warm. Demi. One word. And I cracked, collapsing into him amid the chain-linked cheers. We drove to his new place, tiny Astoria apartment. Sketches of mine framed on the walls. Miss this, he murmured, tracing my knuckles. But the wedding? Cancelled. Venue moot. We can try again. Small. City Hall. I nodded. Throat tight. But Vulture's duffel burned in the trunk. That night. tangled in sheets that smelled of him. I confessed fragments. The swap. The betrayal. Jake listened, jaw clenched. Christ. Dems.
That's
Insane. But if it's true, we go to the cops.
clean. Clean. The word mocked me.
Ethan's empire would swallow any case. Cops on parole. Judges golfing at his club.
No.
Revenge demanded teeth. Next dawn, I slipped out, duffel in tow. Poughkeepsie loomed, strip malls bleeding into woods. The safe house a sagging cabin off Route 9. Vulture waited, same twitchy kid. Older. Scars faded. Upgraded, he said, plugging in the rig. No timer. You're him till the end. Ethan was easy bait. I'd texted from a burner. Estate issue. Meet at the old well house.
Urgent. He showed.
Blair heavy with child now. Waddling behind in Louboutins. This better be good. Whoever you are, he snapped. But froze at the sight of me, free. Feral in the thorns. Demi. Venom dripped. Out already? Should have buried you deeper. I lunged. Syringe of sedative pricking his neck. He slumped. Blair screaming as I zip-tied her to a beam. Shut it. Or you're next. Her eyes widened. Recognition? Vulture worked fast. Helmet sealing. Transfer hit like lightning, his mind flooding mine again. Richer. Rotten with fresh sins, Blair's affair covered up. Arrival's brakes tampered last month. I woke in him, staring at my body, empty vessel now. Ethan's soul yanked into it. No, permanent meant one way. Vulture grinned. You're the boss now, Blair babbled. Ethan? What the Demi? Oh God. I know. He silenced her with a glare. His voice. Easy.
Love.
Family reunion. We drove back to the city. His Porsche purring like a panther. Blair rode shotgun.
Sobbing.
But his charm, my inheritance, cooed her down. Trust me. It's handled. The Empire welcomed me home. Board hailed Ethan's return. Oblivious. I dove deep, liquidated shady assets, funneled clean millions to the feds via anonymous drops. The Ponzi unraveled overnight, arrests rippling through Wall Street, headlines screaming Hargrove implosion. Ethan and me? He paced the loft, raving to mirrors, but I dosed him heavy, whispering, feel what I felt. Brother. Jake called, worried after my vanishing act. Demi? Where? I hung up, Ethan's phone shattering against the wall. Love was the first casualty, revenge, the feast. Climax brewed at the estate, groundbreaking gala. 2 weeks out. A-listers, champagne toasts to rebirth. I'd rigged it, Vulture's contacts planting charges in the foundation. Timed to the speeches. But doubt clawed. Dad's letter echoed. Forgive your brother. Was this justice or echo? Blair confronted me in the penthouse. Belly swollen. Eyes steel. I know it's you.
Demi.
The way you touch things wrong. He told me everything. Before you. You know. She pressed a thumb drive into my palm.
Watch.
Then decide. Alone. I plugged in. Video, Ethan.
Pre-swap.
Confessing to her over wine. Demi's tough. But she took the fall like a champ. Dad did the same for me, sacrificed that exec, so I could learn. Cycle of kings.
Babe.
She'll understand someday.
Kings.
Not monsters, flawed men passing torches of sin. I smashed the drive, but the gala loomed. Controversial choice. Blow it sky high. End the line, or walk. Let the feds dismantle clean. Night of. Valley aglow with lanterns. I, Ethan, took the podium. Cameras flashed. Jake in the crowd. Face ashen. To new beginnings, I toasted. Hand on the detonator in my pocket. Word count. 1,000 for part 2.
File 3.
The detonator's weight burned through Ethan's tuxedo pocket like a coal from hell. The gala's murmur swelling around me, a sea of tuxes and gowns. Crystal flutes chiming like false halos under the estate's restored lanterns. Upstate air hung thick, laced with river damp and the faint rot of unearthed history. Those oaks Dad planted now strung with fairy lights, mocking my warpath. Jake stood front row, arms crossed, his gaze drilling through the facade, my brother's face, but my hesitation flickering in the eyes. Blair waddled nearby, hand on her bump, lips pressed thin. She knew, and her silence was the noose tightening. Ladies and gentlemen, I boomed, Ethan's timbre, honed for boardrooms, now weaponized for this farce. Tonight, we honor the Hargrove spirit, resilience, reinvention. Laughter rippled, investors nodding like trained seals, oblivious to the powder keg beneath their Louboutins. The well house loomed in my periphery, its fresh concrete pour hiding vultures' charges, enough C4 to crater the east wing, bury the legacy in rubble and regret. One click, and boom, end the cycle. Expose the sins in a fireball of truth. Controversial? Armageddon for the 1% echo chamber. Poetic? Even demolish the demolishers. But Dad's letter clawed back, ink fresh as blood. I bore the guilt so you kids could have futures. Futures. Ethan's future, my body now. Shambling in the loft under heavy meds, muttering pleas in my voice. I'd visited once. Post-transfer, him blinking up from the bed, frail in my frame, whispering, Demi, stop. It's not worth. I'd gagged him again. But the fracture spread. Was this revenge or recursion? Framing him in my skin, just as he'd done to me? A hand gripped my elbow, Blair, nails digging like accusations. Don't, she hissed. Low enough for only me. The baby's kicking. Your niece or nephew. End it here, and you're no better than him. Her eyes, soft with terror, cracked the armor. Ethan and me had ranted to her.
Pre-swap.
About the cycle. Dad sacrificing the exec. Him sacrificing me. Now me sacrificing him. Kings devouring heirs. The crowd hushed, expectant. Jake stepped forward, mic in hand, unscripted. The bastard. Ethan, Mr. Hargrove, before we break ground, a word on the woman who inspired this place. Murmurs stirred. He'd rallied the activists. Turned the gala into a tightrope. Demi Hargrove isn't here, but her fight saved this land. The survey? Her doing.
Anonymous tip.
And the secrets it dug up? Proof we're all complicit in this family's ghosts. Gasps rippled. Ethan's board, my puppets, shifted uneasy. I gripped the podium. Knuckles white his knuckles, veined from years of clenching deals. Jake, I warned, voice steady, but laced with my own tremor. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time. He held up his phone. Screen glowing, the thumb drive's video, leaked to the cloud. Ethan's confession playing live, Cycle of Kings.
Babe.
She'll understand someday. The feed hit the jumbotrons. Audio booming. My brother's drawl. Damning as gospel. Chaos erupted. Phones buzzed. Investors bolted for exits. Blair clutching my arm as contractions hit. Early. Stress triggered. Ethan, Demi, help. Sirens wailed distant. Feds closing in on the Ponzi tips I'd fed them. The detonator tempted. A siren's call. Click. And erase the evidence. The empire. The echo. But Jake lunged the stage, grabbing my lapels, face inches from his own brother's mask. Demi, I see you.
Stop this.
For us. For real.
Us.
The word undid me. I yanked the detonator free, smashed it under heel, wires sparking harmless. No boom. Just the pop of illusion bursting. Cops swarmed then, badges flashing, cuffing board members mid-denials. Ethan? Still in my body. But the video pinned it all, his voice, his sins. Feds hauled him from the loft hours later, me. In orange, protesting innocence in my soprano wail. Blair delivered twins at midnight, boy and girl. Lungs fierce as the storm outside. I held them in the hospital glow. Ethan's hands, my hands now, cradling fragile warmth. Aunt Demi, she murmured. Exhausted smile. Or uncle, whatever. Your family. Trial 2 is mine, no.
His.
Ethan and me fought from a psych ward. Lawyers spinning, identity crisis from the swap rig Vulture had torched. But the videos, the ledgers from the safe, raided post-gala. Buried him. 20 years. No parole. Controversial verdict. Hargrove twin sentenced. Victim or villain. Talk shows debated. Did the swap make me the monster? Or expose one? I kept the empire, sort of. Liquidated most. Funneled restitution to the XX family. Scholarships for Valley kids. The estate? Preserved as a trust. Wedding venue for dreamers. No bulldozers allowed. Jake and I remarried there. Small ceremony under the oaks, him in jeans. Me in ivory lace. Vows whispered fierce. No more ghosts. Just us. But the twist lingers. Debatable as dawn. Permanent swap means Ethan's mind echoes in mine. Flashes of his regrets. His loves. Blurring the line. Am I redeemed? Or just the new king? Happy ending? We walk the gardens now. Twins toddling in the roses. But at night, I wake sweating, wondering if I click that detonator in dreams. Forgiveness?
Nah.
But coexistence, his sins in my skin. That's the real revenge. Carrying it all. Unbroken. Readers argue in comments. Heroic sabotage or selfish sabotage. Tragic fall or twisted triumph.
Me?
I pour coffee for Jake. Kiss the kids goodnight. And let the Hudson whisper its own truth. Cycles end when you choose. And I chose life, messy, haunted, mine. Word count, 1,000 for part 3.